Welcome to 52 Authors, 52 Weeks, Season 3. I'm Dr. Lisa L. Campbell, the Growth Motivator. Each week, I sit down with a different author to explore what lies behind the pages. Growth, purpose, finding your voice. Enjoy today's episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode of 52 Weeks, 52 Authors. Today, I am joined by author Bob Gonzalez, author of A Flicker in the Water, Inside the Tales. And I have my Kindle version, but I'm going to let Bob introduce himself and then we will get into the book. But we're not going to tell them everything about the book. We want them to get their own copy so that they can read it for themselves.
Hello, everyone. This is the copy right here, A Flicker in the Water. It's a collection of short stories I'm sure you'll enjoy.
And Bob, tell us something else about yourself as an author, as a person, right? Because they want to know about the book, but they want to know about the person behind the book.
Well, I'm originally a Northeasterner. I grew up in Pennsylvania. I came down to Florida in my 20s. I'm early 60s now. And I've been fishing now down here. When I came down here that I really started fishing all the time. I used to fish in New Jersey as a kid. I'd go in the summertime, but down here in Florida, I got hooked on it, you could say. And I fished for about 20 years, mostly on the Gulf side. There's some on the East Coast, but mostly on the Gulf side. And I decided to write a book about my tales, and I'm glad I did. It's very rewarding, and people seem to enjoy it, and I've learned a few things from it, just as I also learned while I was writing it. There was a lot to learn.
I love that. You know what? I often tell people that I feel like writing is very therapeutic, but it's also educational. You learn a lot about yourself. And I wish everyone would actually take the time to write a book. And I know it sounds like intimidating, but really, it's 2026. There are so many different ways that you can capture your book. I know with my first book, which was more of a motivational memoir, I actually spoke to Zoom and then the video was translated into words. And that first video I recorded, I was doing a lot of crying. And when I was done, I was like, whoa, you should have done this a long time ago.
Wow, crying. You must have had a lot of emotions come up to the surface, huh?
Speak up to the surface. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because it was a memoir, it really required me to take a look back. And I think a lot of times we file parts of our life in the do not recall folder when you really have some unresolved issues that you really need to address. You mentioned you're in your 60s, I'm in my 50s, and I learned a lot about the other side of 50 that I did not realize was still inside of me.
Yeah, those things, it's better that they do come out, because even if you don't hear them all the time, they do they come up to the surface.
Hey, guys, in case you haven't figured it out, Bob is kind of the comedian. And in fact, throughout the book, well, hey, Bob, it's just who you are, right? So in the book, you actually incorporate humor throughout the book. And you give us references like Popeye the Sailor Man. Woo, woo.
Yeah.
Hey, that's when you know you're showing your age, when you can recall things like that. But how does humor shape the tone of the story and what the reader is going to actually experience as they go through the book?
Well, most people who go out on the ocean, it's good to have a sense of humor, and most sailors do. It's good camaraderie in the crew, and everybody gets to joke around because when you're out there, it's just you and the boat you're on, the waves, and the sky. And it's good to keep a light beat attitude as much as possible, and I think humor helps in that way.
I love that. So, now, Bob, don't shame me for this, but I've never been fishing.
Oh
My
wow, okay.
husband tells me all the time, I got to take you fishing. However, I have been on many boats. I love, love, love being on a cruise ship, which is a bigger
Mhm,
boat.
mhm.
And it's something about being on the ocean that brings me a level of peace that I can't explain.
Yeah, that's one thing I mentioned in the book. You don't necessarily have to like fishing to enjoy being out at sea. The ocean is very calming. It's very healthy. It's soothing to your soul and to your physical being too, because there's a lot of salt and a lot of healthy minerals in the salt water that are good for people.
Yes, and according to my husband, again, I've never been fishing. He talked about how you're just out there with, I guess, that rod thing. Again, I don't know
Mhm.
anything about fishing, but he said it's very relaxing for him. And I'm like, well, how long does it take you to catch something? Because you know me, I'm goal oriented. I don't want to be
Mhm.
out there for 3 hours and I don't catch anything. He's like, it's not about that. It's really about, the experience. I'm like, well, I probably won't ever go fishing because I want a fish if I'm out there on that water.
Well, fishing can be very unpredictable. Like the sea itself, really. You can go out there one day and you could catch them all day long, nonstop. And other days you can go out there and you could be that 3, 4 hours with no bites, and then all of a sudden you get that one bite though, and the adrenaline rush that you get makes you instantly forget the 4 hours you were sitting there. That's how much.
Mm.
Yeah. That's the thrill of the chase. That's how exciting it all is, and when it comes together like that, there's nothing like it.
It's kind of like life, huh? You're
Kind
tugging
of, yeah.
along, right? And you're like, I'm not making any progress, but you keep watering the soil, and then all of a sudden, it just happens.
Yeah, yeah, that's you lay the groundwork, you do all your preparation, and then you be persistent about it. And I do talk about this in the book. Usually if you fight through the frustration, and you usually get rewarded on the other side.
I love that. Okay, Bob, you kind of convinced me that I need to go fishing. I am a person who really likes a relaxed environment, but I'm also a little squeamish. So, putting the little worm or whatever you put the bait on the bottom, I don't want to touch any of that. So, I'm going to need like an assistant to help me with the first part, and then I can just hold the fishing rod and go from there.
Well, there's usually a first mate that will help you put the bait on the hook. You won't have to do that yourself, or you can use an artificial lure.
Mm, mm. Now, I have to ask this question. Of all the times you've been fishing, how often do you actually clean the fish and cook it and eat it?
Oh, all the time.
I love it.
Yeah, I like to catch fish that I can eat. I just don't like to catch them for fun. I mean, it is fun, but I like I wouldn't just catch them just to catch them. I like to eat them.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm gonna have to put that on my list of opportunities for me to try in the future. Because one of the things I said just about life, I don't want to get to like my 80s, 90s, 100. And I say 100 because my grandfather died October 2025 and he was 104 years old.
Wow. Wow.
So he saw a lot in life.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really appreciated about him is that he just enjoyed living. He loved everyone. He went through a lot as a person born in 1920.
Yeah.
But he always again, from my lens, because my aunts and uncles will say, well, you had a different version of grandfather than what we had. But I just saw him always enjoying life and enjoying people. And it seems like fishing is really about enjoying life. And if you have somebody with you on the boat, you're enjoying them as well, right?
Yeah, it's usually best to go fishing with somebody else. You get to enjoy your stories together, and people bond in an and it's different than bonding on land. When you're bonding on the water with other people, it's you remember those things for the rest of your life.
I love that. So you're
Mm.
and everything you're saying are like my favorite words that end in ing. Bonding,
Mm.
relaxing, learning. You're probably sometimes meditating. You probably are laughing when you're out
Yeah, 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 yeah. Enjoying.
there. Enjoying. Yeah. See,
Mm,
there's something about ing. There's something about
mm,
that.
mm.
So, Bob, I have to ask a question, and I mean, our readers might not want to know this, but I just want to know it because I'm kind of a nosy person. So, on the bottom of the book, it says "Forward" by Maribel Hemingway. And how did this the forward part come about? Who is Maribel?
Mariel,
Maribel. Uh
Mariel.
oh.
Yeah.
And I have all my readers, and I still got that wrong.
Mariel is Ernest's granddaughter, Ernest Hemingway's granddaughter. As most people probably know, Ernest was more than just a writer. He was a big sportsman, and fishing was a big deal to him. And he he wrote The Old Man in the Sea based on a story about fishing in the sea, between Cuba and Key West. There, The Old Man in the Sea. And I sent her the manuscript. She works with the publisher that I published with, Mindster Media, and they send her the manuscripts, and she looks at them, she reads them. If she likes them, she'll write the forward for you. And I thought, she would be the perfect person to send something like this to, since my book is about fishing and the sea and sea life and things like that. So I sent it to her, and she liked it enough, and she wrote the forward for me, and I'm grateful that she did.
I love that. So the only reason I asked that is because I'm working on my next book, and a, a PR firm told me you need to have a forward for your book, right? And so
Yeah.
you just gave me some thoughts about how I can get to that end result. So thank you for that. See,
Sure.
learning, growing, sharing.
Yeah, that's right. Podcasting.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So, Bob, let's get into the book a little bit. We don't want to tell them everything because this is a good book to read on the cruise ship. Again, I'm a cruiser, but in the very first chapter, and I have to show everybody this picture, which I think is really cool. Um, Everything about it makes my heart warm because I
Mhm.
love to be on the water. I love to look at the sky and thank God for just life. And then the water. So everything about this is all that I love. And this actually would make a good picture on the wall, a coaster for your beverage. You could do a lot with this to make you smile. But Bob, in chapter one, let me get over there.
I was actually on a cruise when I took that picture.
Really?
Yeah, that picture was taken in Jamaica on the beach.
Oh my gosh, Bob. I love Jamaica. I love
Yeah,
Jamaica.
yeah. Ocho Rios.
Oh, and you know what? I haven't been to Ocho Rios in so long. I found this villa that's in Discover Bay, and I've been going there instead of doing like the resorts because I don't want to deal with all the other
Mhm.
tourists. But it's just something about looking out on the ocean, having my morning cup of tea that is just it's so therapeutic for me. So, Bob, in chapter one, and folks, if you are a picture person like me, Bob has lots of pictures in the book. And when I say lots of pictures. And I love that. Oh, and Destin, Florida. I've never been there either. Okay, let me get back to my question, Bob. I was getting too excited about the pictures. So, in chapter one, this is where the readers start to meet the characters. What do you want readers to immediately understand or feel about the characters in chapter one?
Well, I want them to get to know their personalities, and where they fit on the team. Because when you're out there fishing, the way sport fishing, you usually work as a team. It's not just an individual sport. Um, you have a captain, a mate, you have a couple of fishermen with rods, and then you have gaff men and different responsibilities. And I just wanted to get the people to give a little background on, the characters and how they behaved, what their roles were on the team, and a little personality traits of each one.
I love that. And you can definitely see the characters, right? You can actually visualize them. And I think that's important, especially for someone like me that's a very visual learner.
Mhm.
Just being able to visualize who they are, what their personalities are, I think is very important. By the way, I love the pictures in your book. Um, for my next book, I wanted to have a few photos in there, and I was a little hesitant. But Bob, I think you've kind of inspired me today to include a few pictures.
Oh yeah, definitely do. At first, I was a little reluctant to put so many pictures, but the feedback that I get, people love them. So pictures are definitely a good thing to have.
And for someone who maybe hasn't been, on the Bay of Cuba,
Yeah.
you can give them some insight into what it looks like from a real person. You know how you see things on the internet, you don't necessarily know if they're real, but you can tell that these are photos that you actually took. And I've actually been to Cuba before. Um, and for some people, your book is as close as they will get to seeing these areas. So I think that's important.
Yeah. Well, my dad was from Cuba. He was from the eastern end of the island, Santiago de Cuba. That's where those pictures are from. El Moro Castle is where those pictures were taken.
And you know what I have to say, I was only in Cuba for 2 days. This was probably right after I went on a cruise, and so we were docked for 2 days, and so we got to go around. My husband was really all concerned about getting cigars. That was like his main mission. But and seeing the cars, right? So we saw the cars, we saw some of the architecture. So it was good. So, Bob, in the book, you kind of weave these different spiritual messages.
Hmm.
What inspired you to include those, and what do you want the readers to take away from those spiritual messages?
Well, I don't think you can write a book about the sea without including the creator he's actually a character in the book in a way. He's the creator of life, and life, the sea means so much to life and has meant life to human beings since the beginning of time, really, since they started exploring on the oceans. I mean, most of the discoveries in mankind have been from crossing the oceans. I mean, we live now in the world with planes and cars and trains and stuff, but most of human existence, it was the oceans where most of the travel was done. And it's like I was saying, a lot of the health benefits and the spiritual benefits and things like that stem from the ocean, and I want the reader to get a real sense of that.
I love that. It's interesting that you brought up that perspective because I think a lot of people don't really know history. And as a person who's been fortunate to travel to different places around the globe, you see the water and when you visit the different museums, you're like, wait a minute, this is really how it happened, right? Somebody didn't just make up all of this history about the boats and the ocean and all of that and how people traveled. So I think it's important to really connect history with modern day because I think a lot of people don't understand history. I mean, there's so much about it that I don't even know at 53. So
Yeah. Well, one thing Ernest Hemingway said, and you think about it, it's true. The oceans have remained unchanged since men started traveling them by boat. They're still the same.
something to be said about that.
Yeah,
They're consistent.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the land has changed with roads and stuff like that, but the oceans remain the same.
Yes. Oh, and the land has changed so much. And you know what? Something it just popped into my head. So I think I lived in my house for 20 years. And about, I don't know, 3 years ago, there was open land that backed up to my house, right? Just for miles. And Amazon came and put this distribution center there, which literally disrupted the earth and all the little animals that were in the area, they had to go somewhere else. One of them came in
Wow,
my house um,
really?
because
Huh.
their land was disrupted, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that happens when we build things. Somebody has to move.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes. And you know what? Sometimes the person that needs to move is you because you've been
yeah,
standing there for too long.
yeah. That's right. That's right. Drew, new sprouts, new seeds, new beginnings.
Yes. Oh, I love that. So, Bob, a couple of more questions for you. Let's talk about the tuna. And the tuna plays a central role in the story and even inspired the title.
Yeah.
So, can you talk about the significance of the tuna and what it represents?
Well, the tuna represents the title because of the way that it was caught and the time of day or night that it was caught. We fished in Louisiana, which is not far from Destin. It's on the northern Panhandle coast of the Gulf, and there's a lot of oil rigs out there. And in the middle of the night, the oil rigs give off light and warmth, so it attracts tunas and different kinds of fish. And that tuna bit at 2 a.m. in the morning, but the light reflects off the water. The light's from the oil rig, so it's not really dark out there. And when it bit, the way that the tuna was swimming and flipping its tail and this and that, it just felt like the water was flickering. So I named it a flicker in the water. And then the battle that ensued, the readers will have to read about that, though. It was really an exciting battle, and that's the title that I named the book.
I love that. You know, you were very intentional about every aspect of this book, from the title to the messaging, the photos. And so I want to congratulate you on being able to take your experience and put it into a format that others can experience for themselves.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I wrote it in a way that even young kids, 7, 8 years old on up, could understand. And I made it as fun as I could, as and educational at the same time.
Mhm, mhm, and I was just actually thinking about kids, because I think about, here in the Chicagoland area, there are some kids that may not even ever leave this area their entire life, but
Mhm.
hearing about it could pique their interest in, like, "I wanna see some of these areas," right? And help them with continuing their education and wanting more out of life.
Yeah, I want to make the reader, the person, feel like they're right there with us. And they're right there, right on the sea themselves, experiencing the whole thing.
I'm on the sea, Bob. I'm I am definitely on it. So, Bob, okay, you wrote this book in 2022. So it's
Mhm.
2026. What's next?
Well, I have a copy of my next one right here too, if you'd like to see it. Are you a football fan?
I am a die-hard Chicago Bears fan.
Okay, well, I don't know if you're gonna like this or not, but I'll show you anyway.
It better not be the Packers, Bob. Wait,
No,
we
it's not
can't
the
see
Packers.
it.
This is pro football's constitution, okay? And I'll give you a little background story. This is about the Miami Dolphins' perfect season in 1972. And I do mention the Bears in there because the Dolphins actually in 1985 gave the Bears their only loss that year. And I was at that game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the background story to this is that I took one of the lines from my book, from The Old Man and the Sea, when Hemingway was describing the old man. He said, everything about him was old except his eyes, and they were the same color as the sea and were cheerful and undefeated. So then I wrote in my book, neither fisherman or fish go through a full season undefeated unless you're the 1972 Miami Dolphins.
Oh
and
my gosh. You know,
and then about,
every time somebody mentions the 85 Bears, we're just like, yeah, okay, but I want my own Super Bowl before I die. That's my
yeah,
dream.
Well, you never know. They're going in the right direction, man. That throw that Caleb Williams made at the end of the, I think it was the Ram. Who did they play? Was it the 49? I forget this year. The one that led them to overtime. That throw on fourth down. You remember that one this past year. Well, anyway, the point is you have a good quarterback now, and you have a good coach in place. So maybe you never know.
Well, Bob, this year we called them the Cardiac Bears for a reason because we were fortunate enough to go to 2 games live, but the rest of the season we watched from our couch. And every time the game was on, we were just like, I need oxygen.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was a
yeah.
good year. It was a good year. And you're right. Caleb is definitely growing into his NFL position. I wish the Chicago Bears would let me come and have a chat with Caleb because I want him to control his emotions on the camera. Because when he feels defeated, it's written all over his face, and I want to help him kind of turn that around. But we never know. If they see this video, maybe they'll call
Yeah,
me to Hallis Hall.
yeah. He's a home run hitter, so you're gonna get plenty of plays like that out of him.
Yes, yes. And you know what? Just like anything, you have to transition, right? He was really great in college, but NFL is next level, and not everybody gets to the NFL. And you got to kind of transition into that. I think and now we're talking about football, but since your new book is about football, I think a lot of times these teams expect the rookies to just come out the gate and be stars, and not everybody is going to be like a Patrick Mahomes, right? So
Right.
everybody has to grow in their own time. But I will say, because I'm a Ben fan, you need the right coach and you need the right team. And
Oh,
so
for sure.
we,
Yeah.
we
Football
have
is a
that.
team sport, just like fishing. It's a team sport.
And I like how you say that about you emphasize teams, because I think a lot of us want to work solo, but
Hmm.
truly, as a team, as a community, you can achieve more. So very important.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody pulling together. There's nothing like it.
That's what my grandfather wanted. He wanted everybody to love everybody and grow together.
Yeah.
So, Bob, we are almost out of time. So I see the new book. And so as a bookie, I have to go and get me a copy of that book because I love football. But other than the new book, what else is going to be happening over the next couple of years?
I've got a couple more on the way. I've got a children's book I'm working on, and I've got another one about baseball that I'm working on. And so in the next few years, you'll be hearing from me a lot.
I love it. And Bob, I hope that you get an opportunity, if you haven't done so, to maybe do a little story time with your books with the kids, because I know you'll be very animated in telling the story, and you can probably even like read the story and then have some pictures in the background. I think the kids would love that.
I'm doing an event coming up down here in May. It's for an animal conservancy. It's called Rookery Bay down here in Florida, in Naples, and they have classrooms of kids and stuff that go through there. So I'm glad I'm getting to do that. I'm glad you brought that up.
I love that. See,
Yeah,
growing
yeah,
together.
yeah.
Well, listen, Bob, before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts for our listeners?
Well, thank you for listening. For one thing, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. It's been great. I had a great time, and I hope you'll decide to get the book. And if you do, you can send me an email at bobgonzalez492@gmail.com. Let me know how you like it.
And where can they get a copy of the book, Bob?
They can go to my website, flickerinthewater.com, or they could go directly to Amazon or Barnes and Noble or wherever books are sold.
I love it. Well, Bob, I want to thank you so much for being a part of the 52 Authors, 52 Weeks family. And to everyone else, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you next week.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to doing it again.
Thank you.
Okay.
You've just experienced another conversation from 52 Authors, 52 Weeks, Season 3. The conversation may pause here, but the growth continues. I'm Dr. Lisa L. Campbell, the Growth Motivator, and I'll see you next week.